Morning. It's good to see each of you this morning. And with my virtual eyes, it's good to see all of you out there that are watching. Just kidding, I can't see back through the camera, but that's okay. You know, it's sad, but in this world there are times that we just can make choices that can make us live in consequences that are awful. Sometimes it just takes one wrong choice, and it seems like they domino, and then you're trapped, and you don't know what to do. I heard the story, the joke. It was a joke yesterday about a biker who walks into a bar. And he sees this, little timid man, just kind of hunched over, looking at a shot glass at the bar. He's probably about 5'3", and this biker's like 6'8". Sees the man, he watches the man for a minute, and the man's just sitting there staring at the shot glass. So the biker goes up there and he says, "Well, don't worry about it, I'll go ahead and drink that for you." And he drinks it, and he slams the shot glass down on the bar, and then the little man starts to cry. The biker starts to feel bad about it, and he says, "I'm sorry, little fella, I was just having some fun with you." And he says, turns to the biker, and in between the sobs, he starts to tell his story of how he woke up late, and as a result of him waking up late and getting to work, he was late to a presentation, and his boss fired him right there on the spot. So he goes and he collects all his stuff in the box, and he starts to walk out to his car, and he finds that his car has been stolen. So he gets a cab to come to pick him up and take him home. The cab takes him home, drops him off, drives off, and the man realizes he left his wallet in the cab. He goes into his home, and he finds his wife with the gardener. And having felt so, and I just realized I've switched persons in this, but that's okay. Realizing then that I had nothing else to live for in life, and feeling trapped and unable to do anything else with my life, and I came to the bar, and I've just spent all this time trying to muster up the strength to drink that glass of poison and end it all. So the biker made one choice. It cost him his life. Yet the man still has to live in the grip of all these circumstances that have pressed down on him to make him feel trapped and alone and scared and vulnerable. And you may not have had all those things happen to you. I hope that you haven't. It's happened to some people. But there are things in our life that make us feel trapped, don't they? Fear is like a prison. Guilt is a prison. And it feels like you can't get out of it. There is a man today in our text, and our text is Luke chapter 5, and we're gonna start with verse 17. And we're going to see a man. Let's see how this story unfolds. verse 17 starts the way that all good stories start. One day, Jesus was teaching, and the Pharisees and teachers of the law were sitting there. They had come from every village of Galilee and from Judea and Jerusalem. And the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Jesus is in a house. And word about him has spread around the area and reached news all the way down to Jerusalem. 3 days' journey away. And so a lot of Pharisees and scribes, Pharisees were the interpreters of the law. They also received not just the law, but the oral traditions, like wash your hands when you come in from the marketplace. You know, that's probably a good idea today in our world. Wash your hands when you come inside. They had all heard about Jesus. The scribes, teachers of the law. Not all scribes were Pharisees, but most of them were. Coming to check out this new hotshot preacher who's been preaching, and people love his preaching, and he's been healing and casting out demons, and we're going to go and see what's going on with this guy. We're going to go see what all these things are that people are saying about the man, if they are true. And so they go into the house where Jesus is teaching, and the Pharisees and the scribes are there. And the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Switch scenes. Some other men that's in there, came carrying a paralyzed man on a mat. They tried to take him into the house to lay him before Jesus. But when they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, stop right there. Luke tells this scene, but Mark says that they're friends. 4 friends carry a paralyzed man. Paralyzed means you can't move. This man cannot move. And his friends are carrying him to Jesus because Jesus has the power to heal people. Jesus is more powerful than any disease, even leprosy, as we saw last week. We talked about last week how Jesus is more powerful than the coronavirus. So they say, let's bring our friend to Jesus so he can heal Jesus of the paralysis. Now, what made the man paralyzed? We are not told what made the man paralyzed. But it was probably his fault. And it was probably a sin that did it. A consequence of this man's action caused him to be paralyzed. There was a man that I went to high school with who dove off a cliff into the water and became paralyzed because of the way that whatever struck him when he dove into the water. You know, when I say cliff, it's not like when you see on TV and it's like 800 feet high, you know, and you dive down into it. But he dove into water and became paralyzed. What happened? Did this man get in an angry rage and fight and end up getting knocked down and getting hit in the neck? Becoming paralyzed? I don't know what happened. But as we'll see in this account, it's not a far reach to believe that this was his fault.